What is up, sports fans, and welcome back to another episode of Pez's Picks. I'm Jeff Hartman, joined by the man with the picks. He's back from his mountain resort. He's back to New Jersey. What's up?
Filthy New Jersey, Jeff. South Jersey, we're a little cleaner. North Jersey, well, I'll be up there, Jeff. I'm going to Billy
That's
Strings. I'm
right.
sure.
Is
Billy
that this
Strings.
weekend?
That's Friday night
Oh
in
boy.
Newark, classy city, Jeff. If you want recycling, if you want some bums to talk to, you go to Newark, New Jersey, down home and dirty. Stayed in Jersey City. Going to take the boat across over to the big city Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got some meetings. We got some action up there too, Jeff. That's a whole different family, if you will, up there. So we'll be making some moves and talking to some people. Maybe I apply for that Giants job, Jeff. I don't know. Maybe I put in. I couldn't be worse than Dable. I mean, that poor team, poor quarterback, but that's good for the Birds. Yeah, we're feeling good, Jeff. NFL football, interesting situation we're in now. I don't think I can recall parity at this. I don't even say parity. I'd say lack of parity. About a third of the league right now is ineligible for the playoffs. I mean, you could take about 13 teams and wipe their chances away from the playoffs. We have feast and famine in the league. NFC West, a little bit different story. You have 3 or 4 good teams out there, but across the league, we're seeing teams washed up, and I worry about the continuity of the league. You don't want to become the NBA. You don't want to have 5 teams a year that are eligible to win the championship, and the other 27 teams in our league and the NFL aren't going to make it, and it appears we're going in that direction. It's kind of a sad and scary situation for gambling. That's also not good. I think across, we're a batting 500 on the NFL, and of course, we'd like to do a little better. We've had a couple good weeks, but we're holding tight at 500. Most people are below water. When teams have nothing to play for and coaches are getting chased out early, you start to see a little bit of mutiny in the locker room. Aside from playing for bonus play, these guys aren't going out there. They're not going to risk injury, and it's something we're going to have to tweak in the system a little bit. And playoff teams are definitely a little bit more of a motivated factor to play harder and kind of cover spreads.
Well, let's start off. That's a little bit of what we learned from last week, and we were right around 500 in college, weren't we?
On the weekend, we were 500 total. We had a
Okay.
game last Tuesday we missed, which we're going to ask some investigation on. Jeff, it was the worst coaching situation I ever saw. But overall, we're still, I think, 63% for college
Okay.
football. Pro, we're about, I think, a game over 500. Last week we were dead even, 500. Unless you want to count that Jets play, we'll say we're a winning team last week. We did throw a Jets play out there.
That's true.
We didn't know it was official, but it's a very difficult league when we look at against the spread record. I mean, we're only coming in with about half of the league is 5-4 or better against the spread, and the other half of the league is below water. You go all the way down. New Orleans, Jeff, 3-7 against the spread. I mean, that's something that we try to bet against. Green Bay, 3-6 against the spread. Even Pittsburgh letting us down a little bit, 4-5. A big shocker mid-season, Buffalo, 4-5 against the spread. Don't know what's going on in that team. I think we talked about it, though. Anytime you bring HBO in, you're kissing your season goodbye, it seems like. So a difficult season, but I think things will start to even out. That happens in the NFL. And you get some quirky situations, scheduling, and the league doesn't want teams to be bad every year. So I think we're kind of in that a little bit. We did have our play on Carolina last week. You didn't like it, Jeff. I still loved it. Aside from 2 turnovers, I think we should have covered that game. Carolina shockingly pretty good against the spread, 6-4. That's a top 5 team against the spread. So gambling's a living animal. You want to bet teams that are hot. You want to bet teams that cover spreads, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win games. Last week took them as a favorite, and sometimes gambling line, the line tells you something. When Vegas says a team's a 5.5-point favorite, they should win that game. They're probably going into that game a 60-some%, 65 or more percent chance to win, and you turn the ball over twice, that doesn't happen. So Philadelphia, the Rams, New England, Detroit, these are teams that are covering a little bit of a higher tick, but we're going to bet against them when the data's there, Jeff. When the data's there, it's a week-by-week situation. When the data's there, you're going to take it, and the line kind of steers you. Sometimes steers you off. Sometimes, I mean, that's the situation.
Well, let's talk about spreads. I want to go to college football for a second. There have been some huge spreads in college football, and that's the norm. It's not that way in the NFL. In the NFL, if you get a 7.5, 8.5 spread, you're like, holy crap, that's a big spread. In college, you'll see 24.5-point spreads. It's insane how crazy those spreads are. But I think what we saw last week is there are some teams, and this has not been the case since NIL and the transfer portal became a thing. There are some teams playing for pride, Pez. They actually are out there, like Penn State, Indiana, great example. No one was giving Penn State a shot. Everyone thought Indiana was going to roll. They fired James Franklin. Drew Aller's done for the year. Penn State is going to pack it up, and they are just going to say, I'm done. But they didn't. They fought hard in that game. They played for pride. How do you navigate these college football waters with the season ending for a lot of teams, bowl season not meaning what it used to be, and we're getting to the end of that?
I don't know the gentleman's name, but he was a Penn State player. He's a black gentleman that I don't know. He's a coordinator. He's taken over as head coach, and we I guess we underrated him, Jeff. I didn't know much about him. He's got a cool nickname. I can't think of it right. I think a Superfly. They called this guy, and he's rallied the team, and he rallied the fans. When we took that game, what we were looking at, Indiana should have put up numbers similar we saw with Ohio State. The defense still had a little pride against Ohio State, but in the second half, the offense took over. They shut that offense down. I mean, and we expected that to happen with Indiana, Penn State. It appeared a little bit of a letdown. Indiana does get lucky. I mean, they win. They didn't miss the cover by about 10 points. But it's not that I think college, these teams are giving up. When a coach leaves, there's an exhale. The kids are already scrambling to look at where am I going to my next team, right? I mean, that's probably happened in Penn State. I think guys have left the team already. So sometimes in these big programs, you'll get reserves, and part of the minefield of betting college football. Vandy, again, that's a team that we like, and a team that is playing. You might not have as many tier D1, top prospect guys. So it's dangerous. College football is dangerous. A second, a third string player probably could play on half the teams in the country, and you don't know what you're getting into with that a little bit. But college football, it's been fun, right, Jeff? It's been good. There are rumors right now. Is Lane Kiffin going to Penn State? We talked off camera. Mike Tomlin. I just heard Mel Kiper Jr. And Mel Kiper Jr. hasn't gotten anything right in 25 years, so probably not. But this does this affect teams? And Nebraska, I think, went through this a little bit when Dylan Raiola went down with an injury. But Matt Rule, the rumor to maybe go to Penn State, then he signs an extension. I think that gets in players' heads, and I think that's something that's difficult. Texas, a team that's coming on a little bit. I think a little bit better than they looked early on. So this week we have 5 games, Jeff. We're releasing on Pez'sPicks.com. We got an Ivy League game, which we talked about. You couldn't believe it. We have a winner in the Cornell-Dartmouth game. It's the Andrew Bernard versus Dartmouth game, Jeff. Andrew Bernard will be there. Hates Dartmouth. It's a grunge game. I can't wait for that one. Why would we bet Ivy League? You're going to bet whatever the numbers are there, Jeff. Whatever the numbers are there. We didn't take the game. We almost took University of Delaware. We didn't take it. They got a great Italian quarterback. The data is not there for them. They haven't played enough big-time Division I programs to get real data, or we would have taken that game. I got a little bit of a lean on them, but we're not taking them. We got 5 other ones. And NFL, feel a little better this week, Jeff. The last 2 weeks have been very difficult. We leaned on home field. That didn't work out in Tampa, of course. Philadelphia Eagles did come through with us, Jeff. Big Monday night win. What we learned is the Birds, and I'm back debating everybody in Philly about Jalen Hurts, Jeff. Like, I can't take these guys. These guys have known my whole life. They're burying me all week. Pull them. They're sending me still shots. Him not throwing to AJ. Forget about it, Jeff. We're winning ball games. They're playing like Ben Roethlisberger Steelers played. Tick the clock. Don't turn the ball over. I try to explain to these jabronis. You're better off not throwing the ball over the middle, if you have to, than throwing it over the middle and giving up a turnover. Every turnover, 12 to 15% chance less likely you win that game. So I love the style the Philadelphia Eagles are playing. If not for turnover, they probably would have blown that team out a little bit more. But it's an interesting NFL season. A little bit worried about the product. The quarterback play is suspect in a lot of areas, and I don't know. We need better college quarterbacks coming through the system, and I just don't see too many out there right now.
Well, the crazy thing about the NFL in terms of parity is it's incredible how you have these teams in these games. So let's go look at the Buffalo Bills, prime example. You mentioned they were 4-5 against the spread so far this year. They have a huge home win against the Kansas City Chiefs, and they followed up by going to Miami and not just losing, but getting smoked. And so as a gambler, that gives me pause about a lot of things in the National Football League. you don't really know what to expect. I mean, those Chiefs that we just mentioned are 5-4. They're coming off the bye. You assume they're going to be okay, but at the same time, the Denver Broncos are 8-2, and they're winning ugly games, but they're winning football games. Pez, talk me through this parity from a gambler's perspective.
14 teams, Jeff, have 13 teams. If you want to throw in Houston, I'll throw them in. They're a little bit over, but 14 teams have a 5% or less chance of making the postseason right now. So to me, I think it's actually almost become the opposite. It's not parity as much as feast and famine, that these teams have no shot. And, if we went through the list, quarterback play is going to be a serious indicator on why a lot of these teams aren't good. Buffalo, kind of a strange situation. I think the league caught up to what they're doing out there. And, last year, Josh Allen beat everybody. He doesn't have a legitimate big-time receiver. I mean, he's out there throwing to guys that aren't as big of a risk to kind of beat you as much as he is. And
sure,
I think they figured out some defense to kind of hold him back. They beat the Chiefs. And I don't think the Chiefs are great, Jeff. And at the end of the day, the Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win games situationally through coaching. They're not going to try to blow teams out, and they're going to lose some games. And maybe Miami's a little better than we thought, right? I mean, they're 3-7, but the team's still playing hard for that guy. And all these guys do get paid. So this is what you run into in the NFL. I would have never bet Miami against the Bills, but when I saw that game, it seems like Buffalo loses in Miami a lot, right? New England used to lose in Miami a lot. Probably a fun place to play, Jeff. If I was, had $50 million, I'd probably be in South Beach out with those guys. So a tough situation in the NFL. I think there's suspect teams. The AFC North, who knows what the hell's happening in that division? Even in the AFC South, a little bit. Are the Jags any good? Are the Texans any good? We know the Titans stink, and I'm real proud of us. We laid off that AFC West. We did not take a team total. I believe we did, Jeff. Right? AFC West. I think we stayed away because who knows? It's a crapshoot out there. Denver, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Raiders. I mean, there's a lot. There are a lot of good players, and those are teams you're not seeing a lot. And like you said, Denver, I think they've won 5 games by 10 points or less, or maybe 6 games.
Like
so that's a tough team to bet, right? I'm not going to bet that. We're not going to bet that team, though. They're marked right now to have 12 wins, and analytics tends to be pretty good by this point. New England, we do apologize, Jeff. New England better than I thought. I guess they're for real. I guess Drake May's for real. Tampa injuries, I think, are hurting them. Look for Tampa to start winning ball games. They get those receivers back if they do. I mean, they're down to one guy. Egbuka's a good player. The run game's a little suspect right now. But I think Tampa still has some ball games to win. We'll see how we go down the stretch here. Second half of the season, I think we're going to see momentum pick up a little bit. And then Pittsburgh, I'm pulling for them, Jeff. We got 3 more wins, I think, to hit our total. We got to get that done. Baltimore is going to be tough down the stretch, I think.
Sure. Yeah. Well, you bring up Baltimore. This podcast runs on Thursday morning every week, unless there's a change of schedule, which is rare. And there's already been reports this week of quarterbacks who are likely to be out. Lamar Jackson misses practice on Wednesday. CJ Stroud misses practice on Wednesday. Now, Davis Mills was the one that pulled off the comeback over the Jaguars last week for the Houston Texans. You have other quarterbacks, like, for instance, Jackson Dart's hurt in New York, and Jameis Winston's been elevated to quarterback 2. I could go down the list. And Tyler Shuck, you brought up the Carolina pick last week. My issue wasn't so much Carolina. It was the Saints. It was a divisional game. Tyler Shuck was the quarterback. He's going to be settled in with his second start. And Kellen Moore, you know him well, he's got him playing tough. And they play hard for that guy. And they suck, but they're playing tough. So what do you do in terms of, I know a lot of people on your Instagram feed, because I check the comments and all that, they ask about the spread and how it changes. So these opening lines that come out, whether it's CJ Stroud, what do you recommend? What would you suggest to people that might be looking at playing a game with a banged up quarterback? So CJ Stroud and the Texans, the Baltimore Ravens, they're expecting Lamar to play, but still these lines are going to fluctuate. What would you tell a potential gambler out there when it comes to making these plays? Should you do it early? Should you wait? What do you think?
I think right now, Baltimore, I watched a lot of that game last week. They just don't seem as dominant as they used to defensively. So a dangerous game, especially Lamar being banged up. The running game isn't as dominant as it used to be. A team that's battling to be 500. Cleveland's still a dangerous team, especially at home with that defense. If I was going to play that game, we're not playing that game. We're not taking that. I think there's just too much uncertainty, especially with the quarterback situation. Like you talk, that game opened up Cleveland getting 8.5. Now they're 7.5. I think Cleveland 8.5 is a strong play. Not something that I would necessarily probably get on because quarterback play there is suspect. But anytime you have question marks at the quarterback position, unless you're betting against that team, I think you have to kind of pump the brakes a little bit. Houston, a disappointing team again. I don't know what's going on with Stroud. Maybe they figured them out. But I think it's very difficult to bet on quarterbacks that have question marks, especially when, in the Baltimore, the backup situation is it's okay, Jeff, but I don't know if Tyler Huntley's going to be carrying the team against Cleveland. That's a good defense. I'm not so sure Jameis Winston isn't a bad play, Jeff. I think Jameis Winston's got some fire in that team. If you look during the preseason, the team loves that guy. He was big with the fan base. He was big in the quarterback room. He's way more popular with the guys than Russell Wilson. So that's a dangerous game. And Green Bay, I got a lot of questions on that team. I don't know what the heck's going on with that offense. I don't know who's calling the plays there, Jeff, but they're not really working. I would be suspect to bet on a team that isn't consistently putting points up, and that's the case with Green Bay. You can make that argument with the Philadelphia Eagles, Jeff, but I don't think that's the problem. I think they're playing a system to tick the clock, limit possessions. They're holding teams to 5 or 6 possessions per half. That's not a lot of chances against our defense. When you have a front four that's pressuring quarterbacks, that is a difficult thing, and it's tough to adapt to that at halftime. You're only getting 5 or 6 chances. You get 2, 3, 3 and outs, and that's it. You're down to 2, 3 chances to score points, and against that defense, you're lucky to be kicking field goals. So I don't know. I think the Giants might have a little bit more in their tank than people think. I think that team, maybe with a little bit of coaching change this week, quarterback change, you could see a little spark.
All right, so let's talk about this week. Are there any leans or anything you want to announce for Pez'sPicks.com, which, by the way, people can go there at any time and register Pez'sPicks.com. You get Pez's premium picks, so not just his leans or what he thinks. You are getting his picks for the week. We've already talked about last week. Let's talk about this week. Pez, what do you got?
Well, we're making a pick in a big game, Jeff. We got a pick in we already talked about the Cornell Dartmouth. That's a big Ivy League game, Jeff. But we've got plays on TCU, BYU. We're making a play in Clemson, Louisville, Friday night game, and we have a play in South Carolina, Texas A&M. To be quite honest with you, I think a lot of these top 10 teams playing. There's a big card this week, a difficult card to play. If I had to put a lean out there right now, it's a difficult situation. Some of these lines are kind of scaring me a little bit. I kind of like Miami. I think if I was going to put a lean out there, Miami laying 14 at home against NC State, I think that's a decent play. Having said that, we're not going to put that out as an official play, or we're not going to have that on Instagram because the quarterback play has been iffy. Yeah. I like Duke laying 4 at home against ranked Virginia. I think that's another good lean game right there. You figure Virginia come in 19th, Duke 5-4. Why they laying 4? That's the kind of game where the line jumps out at you. That the books are saying that the rankings don't mean anything. When they bunch the numbers on these teams, Duke's a better team. So I kind of think Duke is a good play right now. Duke and Miami would be my 2 lean games. Bama, Oklahoma. I really want to pull the trigger on Bama. It just screams to me a little bit of a sucker play. I don't know why, Jeff. The quarterback is hurt in Oklahoma. The guy's got a broken hand. Defense still playing hard. I'd like to pull the trigger on Bama, but I got a suspect we have a little bit of an upset there. If I was going to lean on that one, I would say Oklahoma.
All right. What about NFL? You want to talk about anything there this week?
Jeff, we're not playing the Thursday game. I think if we were going to play this game, you might, and we're not going to do it. I don't think the Jets are a good team, but I think the Jets getting 13 points on a Thursday night. From what we've seen, There's not a lot of points scored. New England coming off a huge win. You could see a slow start. Then again, it's Mike Vrabel. So I'm not going to bet against Vrabel at home against a bad team. But I think the Jets are still playing with a little bit of pride. I think they have some more wins there. If you were going to play it, if you're going to put in a parlay or something, I think you get good value in the Jets plus 13. But these Thursday games, not good games. I mean, last week, just an awful game. 10-7. It wasn't like the 10-7 we saw at Birds Green Bay. It's just an awful, boring game. But teams are still playing hard. It's Thursday night. I think defenses play harder on these Thursday nights. You have less time to prepare as an offense. And I think that benefits the defense in a lot of situations. So Jets plus 13. If you get them 13.5, I think that's not a bad lean right there. We're looking at 4 games. We'll have those come out. This is going to come out Thursday. So Thursday afternoon, the NFL plays will be coming out. I like our chances a little better this week to kind of get some more hits. The card's looking a little more beneficial.
All right. So again, that's Pez'sPicks.com, PezPicks.com.
We'll put out one more, Jeff. We're not going to take them because I don't want to be called fanboy. I think the Philadelphia Eagles laying 2.5 at home against Detroit. That's the play of the week. That's the free play of the week. We're going to put that one out just to piss people off. I'll wear the gear, Jeff. When we put these plays out, of course, I'm cheering for the team. I'm wearing the sweater right now. It's a classy sweater, Jeff. This is the greatest Christmas 1933, whatever material, some sort of synthetic. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna take the Eagles on Instagram, laying 2.5 to Detroit. And I think the line's telling you something there. The public is all over Detroit. You've got 78% of the action on the book I'm looking at right now coming in on Detroit. That says to me Philadelphia Eagles are underrated still. Got points last week, Jeff. The Super Bowl champion got points against Green Bay. We loved it. We put that game on. I think we're getting 2.5. It ended up going off. They were given to. I love them right now, laying 2.5. I think the team, A.J. Brown gets a lot of catches. I think it's a big offensive output from Philadelphia Eagles, kind of like the Super Bowl. Jared Goff, I think he's in trouble this week. I think he is, Jeff. I don't think anyone's stopping that D-line. They look fantastic this week. And the trades, Howie Roseman, maybe the greatest general manager in history, Jeff. This guy, even though, the quarterback from Baltimore is.
I was going to say, he just traded for a guy that quit. What are you talking about?
He didn't quit yet, Jeff. He didn't quit yet.
Yes, he did.
He's got a little injury bug. He's mulling retirement, but I think his knees bothered him. I don't think he liked that he wasn't going to come in and maybe be a star. I don't know, Jeff. But
Okay.
That Taylor guy from Miami, huge plays. I mean, fantastic pickup. I'll take the Eagles minus 2.5 against Detroit.
All right, there you have it, folks. All right, Pez, are you ready for your top 5?
Let's let it rip, Jeff. We've got a good one this week. We've been doing some traveling. Number 5, Howie Roseman. We just talked about him. They highlighted him on the Monday night game. The most trades, I think, second most to New England. I think in the last 25 years, this guy brings in talent. He brings in players that kind of get lost in the shuffle. I think Taylor said it's the greatest day in his life. The guy came up, made some impact plays, helped us win. Howie Roseman, number 5. Number 4, Jeff, this is for people that are staying away from airports. I'm doing that right now. I think that's a good decision. I had a buddy trapped in an airport 5 hours, 2 kids, not a good situation. The New York Thruway, if you're driving somewhere, that is the Autobahn of highways in the United States. That is the nicest road in the United States, Jeff. There's no tolls. You can cruise on that road. The one beware. You do have a lot of police officers that are on that road, and they're feisty, Jeff. I know that firsthand. New York Thruway, Chipotle, Chick-fil-A, Panera, Shake Shack. You can get any type of quality takeout food. You name it, New York Thruway's got it. Greatest road in America. Love that Big Apple. We'll be up there this weekend. Number 3, Chipotle. Are you a Chipotle fan, Jeff?
Absolutely.
Unbelievable, this Chipotle. Having said that, they skipped me on a little bit of salsa and chips. They sent me a freebie. I love them for that. You tell them on the app, and then they send it right back to you. Fantastic, Jeff. The chimichurri sauce. I should have put that at number 1. Fantastic. Number 3, Chipotle. Number 2, the Northern Lights, Jeff. Northern Lights. Did you see it this week? Could you catch it down there, Maryland?
Well, we're not at the elevation to get it, and there's too much like.
Check it out, Jeff.
Stuff, yeah.
It was blowing up here in New Jersey, down all the way by down Cape May. Yeah, and Jeff, I do go to a lot of these Grateful Dead concerts. I'm a parent, so I don't do the psychedelic stuff, but you feel like you're on psychedelic, Jeff. Unbelievable. Who invented Northern Lights? I got to shake that guy's hand. Fantastic. That's a night. It's out again tonight. I think all week you can catch it. I'll be out there on my back deck looking. Number 1, Jeff. I can't believe this is happening. The penny is gone. They made the last penny in Philadelphia forever. Who's getting rid of the penny? That's the greatest coin ever invented. It's the only one that sticks out. It's got the cool color, the smell. What is happening to the world? We're getting rid of the penny. You know what that means? Prices are going up. No more 99-cent special. It's going to be $1 now. What are we doing, Jeff? What are we doing in this country? Hashtag save the penny. Now, the one thing I didn't like is Halloween, you'd get a penny. That was BS, Jeff. That's bullshit. Give the kids some candy. But the penny, a roll of pennies, the smell of it, I guess it's copper. I don't know. I'm not a big metal guy, but the penny, God bless it. I thank you. I don't know when it's going to be out of production or when out of use. It's out of production. I don't know when it's out of use, Jeff. Probably about another 100 years. There's a billion pennies out there. Hashtag save the penny. Let's get back on that.
That's a great top five. And for those Chipotle people out there, I've got a couple tips for you because we are a big Chipotle family. First and foremost, I wish they would have their spicy honey chicken as a full-time thing. That was a temporary offer, and it was great, and it was so good. And that sauce that you mentioned, it is perfect. But
top notch, Chef.
If you're in the store and you're a double meat guy or gal, here's what you got to do. You ask for the chicken, steak, carnitas, whatever you want. They put it on there and be like, oh, by the way, can I have double? And then they give you a whole other scoop. Because if not, if you ask for double right away, they're going to skimp on those scoops. So you get 2 full scoops, you get more meat. That's how you do it.
I mean, they say the meat's good, Jeff. I'll pull a little veggie burrito sometimes, courtesy of the hippie wife. The veggie burrito.
Get out of here.
You double up on the black beans, Jeff. Phenomenal. I learned from my hippie wife, you eat enough black beans, you stop farting. I don't even fart anymore, Jeff. It's fantastic. A machine with the beans. Eat the legumes. You live forever on legumes, Jeff. I love it.
Go lift some weights and eat some meat is what you got to do. I'm
gonna go skate. I'll be skating in a week, Jeff. I can't wait. That mountain screwed me last week. Killington Ozen won, but Thanksgiving I'm gonna be ripping it up there. I'm ready to go.
That sounds great. All right, Pez, been a great show. Enjoy the games this weekend. We'll talk next week. Take it easy.
Go Birds.